Havenites, this is Josh Olive with Haven Comics. It's Thursday night, which means it is time for Shop Talk. And Alan and I are going to be talking comics. We're going to be talking about what's coming out. We're going to be looking at previews. So we're going to be having a good time. Stick around after this awesome intro video, and we'll be right back. See what I lie to you? We're still here. So, like I said, Thursday night, time for some shop talk. We got previews, we got reviews. We're going to have a great time. We'll probably get completely distracted because that's sort of what we do. And speaking of distractions, we'll just go ahead and bring him on right now. What's happening?
I am the ultimate distraction.
Yeah?
I really am. I mean, I can literally sideline just about anything.
Is that a skill? Is that a feature or a bug? What?
I don't know. The only time I am really and truly able to stay on track is when I'm reading.
Fair enough.
I mean, when I'm reading or watching a movie. Speaking of movies,
yeah, let's go ahead and just go get it out of the way now. Yeah, let's
jump right into it. I do probably need to run this right quick. We will be talking about Deadpool Wolverine here for just a moment. Now, I went to see it Friday night with Nick Ellis and his family, or his wife and her brother. You know how we've always heard that Nick likes to talk through movies?
Yes. Is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate at all.
Does he get mad when people do it?
No. Well, I mean, there was like maybe a couple of times there was something that got said between us. You know how you just kind of lean over, like, hey, what they say? You know, something like that.
Yeah.
But Nick does not really and truly talk during movies. So, or maybe just Deadpool Wolverine just completely and totally sucked him in. I don't know. As far as the movie itself is concerned, I thought it was great. I never thought I would walk away from a movie thinking that I needed a 90s soundtrack before.
Oh, 100%. Yes, I agree.
And now here comes the spoiler. For those of you that have not seen, I'm sure people have seen it online like YouTube and stuff, but you have not seen the actual van fight in the movie theater.
Oh, Lord. The Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, the Honda Odyssey, which apparently sucks, by the way.
Except clearly they find out it does not.
Yeah, that thing can take a beating. My question to you is, why does You're the One That I Want from Grease work so well in that van fight?
Yeah, it shouldn't at all, and yet it does. It was fantastic.
Now, I know that Nick really liked the comic accurate references and the things that they did. I think that was his favorite part of it.
Like comic book tall Wolverine.
Yeah, comic book tall Wolverine. You know, the crucified X Wolverine.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
I mean, that was awesome. But even almost a week later, I still get tickled thinking about him screaming, "I'm going to Disneyland," and headbutting the camera. I don't know. That come out of nowhere, and I don't know why that got me the way that it did.
I kind of had that same thing with "Till You're 90."
Yeah. And when you see how much money the movie made, yeah, he's playing Wolverine till he's 90.
Well, the reason that one particularly caught me and amused me was because like Dick Van Dyke is still coming out and doing stuff, and he's darn near 100. I think he's 98 or 99. And so I'm like, every single time till you're 90, all I could picture was Dick Van Dyke as Wolverine, and it was cracking me up.
Now, one thing which I know there is a lot that we can't talk about because we just can't get it past censors on here.
That is accurate.
I am absolutely shocked that Disney let him get away with what all he got away with in that movie.
like I said, people thought that Disney was going to sanitize it, Disneyfy it, whatever. And I think, and obviously I have no proof, this is just my opinion, but I think that part of their way of quelling that, crushing that rumor, was to lean hard the other way. Because I think this was even more crass and crude than the first two movies in many respects. It just leaned into it even harder.
Did you? I got to be very delicate about this. When in the beginning, when he used Wolverine's, I guess, femur,
yes,
to stab the guy, in the nethers.
Yes.
Did you catch what was actually going on after he stabbed him?
Oh yeah.
That was bad.
That was terrible.
That was bad.
That was terrible.
But here's the thing about it. That definitely set the tone for the entire movie.
That whole opening sequence was just hysterical. Especially with the choreographed bye bye bye. Just that was funny.
I'm trying to think of something now. One thing that I did like about it, you know how there was a ton of people. I mean, there was a lot of things I liked about it, but there was a ton of people that kept saying, "Well, hey, this is Wolverine's introduction into the MCU, or this is how they're bringing the X-Men into the MCU."
Yep.
That's not what the movie was about at all. I mean, I didn't realize. In fact, it didn't really and truly hit me until the next day. That movie was pretty much a goodbye to the X-Men and everything, all the Fox stuff that we've watched over the years.
Yes and no. It was very much that. It definitely was a happy trails to you to all of the Fox movies, right? But you say, well, it's not the introduction of the X-Men to the MCU. It's inherently the introduction of the X-Men to the MCU because it features Wolverine.
But
not Wolverine, just it features Deadpool
yeah.
and then Wolverine, and it's an MCU film. Now we already had Charles Xavier in what was it?
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness. So we already had some of that. But this is definitely on a different scale, especially when it started tying into the TVA and all that other stuff.
But the thing is, though, Wolverine and Deadpool, they're on Earth like 1008. And
right.
the sacred timeline is 616.
Right. But the setup is there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the setup is
there because now we know that he's on all these other Earths and all this stuff. And who knows? Maybe we'll get Cavalrine.
That's a possibility. Hey, he did look good. I mean,
100%. Yes.
Yeah, he did look good. I did like that one little brief exchange where Elektra even made the comment, "Now we get our ending."
Yep.
I thought that was great. I know, a lot of people did not like it. My son and I was talking about it earlier. We don't understand why a lot of people did not like it, but we both enjoyed that Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck.
Well, I thought it was terrible.
I mean, going into it, I was expecting more of a Kevin Smith movie than what I got. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Elektra movie. I was entertained.
I hated the Elektra movie. Oh gosh, I hated that.
Please, Jennifer Gardner doing martial arts and beating people up. What is there to hate about that?
If you want to watch that, watch the movie. What is it? Peppermint.
Yeah, but Elektra is pre-Peppermint.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying if you want to watch her beating people up and stuff, watch that. That's got a decent plot. That's what if she became Punisher. But no, I never did like the Elektra movie. I thought it was terrible. It just had no. It's not the character from the comics, and I don't care if it's a perfect adaptation of a plot from the comics, but it's not the character from the comics.
Yeah,
and I never could deal with that. The one thing I did like from that Ben Affleck Daredevil was the fact that he sleeps in a what you call it, not a compression chamber, but sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool. Because that made sense to me, right?
Yep.
Like he would need to do that if he wants to get any sleep. But no, I thought it was really cool. I thought the head fake with Chris Evans was fantastic.
Yep.
That was so good. The weird little stuff, like they had the bad guy from the Thomas Jane Punisher movie in there. The dude in the red and white striped shirt who was just a flunky running around Cassandra Nova's place.
Yeah, and I really wish that there would have been. And I'm not a huge fan of him, but I really wish they could have brought Kevin Nash back to play that role, because it took me a second to figure out exactly who he was.
Oh, that he was
that from the Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the whole Channing Tatum Gambit thing. That was hysterical. I don't know who your dialect coach is, sweetie, but that was terrible. I don't understand what you're saying. And that whole business where they're like, yeah, I feel like I've been ripped from my home and this, and he's like, I feel like I was born here. Like, that's because your movie never even happened. It was great.
Yeah, but my thing on the whole Channing Tatum Gambit is, how did he deliver some of those lines with a straight face?
Oh, yeah, no idea.
When he was talking about just being ready, that whole exchange right there, I don't see how that right there showed they're all professional actors, because there's no way I'd have been able to keep a straight face during that.
Oh, they might have had to do 475 takes. I mean, goodness only knows. But yeah, how he delivered several of those lines with a straight face was a mystery, because that was just hysterical. Really enjoyed it. The in jokes, the Easter eggs, and some of all the movie folks, those weren't Easter eggs. That was a critical plot point, right?
Yeah.
But all of those things that you just come in not expecting, and then there they all are, and they were orchestrated so well. And then you have the little in jokes that were just for comic book fans, like the name of the store that they bust into, Liefeld's Just Feet.
Yep.
Just hysterical. You would have to be a comic book fan to get that reference. No movie fan would have any idea. But there were other things too. There were cameos that were just really different, like you wouldn't expect. Like there was a leg of a sentinel that somebody was using to bash somebody upside the head in Cassandra Nova's camp. And it's a sentinel from one of the other movies. Just things like that. It was all over the place. And I just thought it was a glorious send-off for the Fox era and a really fun introduction to the MCU.
And I did really enjoy, the Wolverine's monologue just before the van fight. Yep. That got really intense there for a minute.
Yes.
I liked the way they did that. Even there, right there at the end, when you got the big cinematic ending, and yes, I mean, Deadpool leans back, checks out Hugh Jackman's abs, nods at the camera, that's expected. But even that became like intense, serious moment right after that.
Yep.
Where they're like flashing with the memories and everything. I mean, it was just, honestly, that was probably, out of all three Deadpool movies, that was my favorite one. I think that was the best
because
one.
It felt like it had heart. The first one had some heart. The second one didn't. But this one felt like it had heart, and it was a love letter to all of those things that had come before, and a real tribute to Hugh Jackman as playing Wolverine the way that he did. I just thought that was pretty great.
Hey, now Nick grunted at that part also.
I want you guys to know I have abs just exactly like that. I do. I have abs just exactly like that. I just keep mine under a very dense layer of protective fat.
Yes.
Tots, I've been meaning to tell you, and I just have forgot. Marvel is doing a series of Deadpool and Wolverine covers as their cover theme of the month.
Well, how else are they going to sell Spider-Man?
Right. So I ordered those on the assumption that you might want them, Tots. If you don't sweat it, but I thought you might. So just be on the lookout for those because those are pretty darn cool, and I thought you would enjoy them. So we've talked about Deadpool Wolverine. We thought it was pretty swell. It has, it's like the little engine that could. It has made quite good at the movie theater. It has raked in quite a bit of cash. It's like the top two movies in the U.S. this year,
and it's also
kind of out of nowhere.
The number one
Inside Out 2 and Deadpool Wolverine.
Yep. The
Inside Out 2 has made over $1.5 billion.
Which one has?
Inside Out 2.
Honestly,
sequel to the Inside Out movie has made $1.5 billion.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, Deadpool Wolverine now reigns supreme as the number one grossing R-rated movie of all time.
It was super duper.
But yeah, the Inside Out, Disney's had, several flops here lately, so they've
had a hard time.
This has definitely been the summer of Disney, that's for sure.
No doubt. I mean, when you put movies out in the space of a month?
Yep.
And you've made what at this point?
$2 billion, over $2 billion.
$2.5 billion off of 2 movies. That'll help offset some costs.
Yeah. It definitely, and Nick probably said it best when we were sitting there. And
don't say things like that. He'll get a big head.
Oh, I know. It's him big in his head. But when the MCU logo popped up and you started getting all this, what we've been seeing for several years.
Yeah.
Nick leaned over at me and he goes, "It's sad. That's the first time in a long time I've been excited to see that."
Well, that's true.
Yeah, you know what? He's 100% right. Now, I mean, did this save the Marvel Universe? No, this did not save the Marvel Universe. It was never going to save the Marvel Universe. Tom Price was right. This movie was designed to put butts in seats. That's exactly what this movie was designed to do.
Don't tell Tom he was right. What are you doing telling these people they're right? And they said it best.
It's a
you
moment
not realize
of
the effect that has?
It's a moment of weakness. That's all it is.
You're just being so nice to these people today, and that's going to just end up with them coming back for more. Never going to be able to get rid of them. Just terrible. So what you want to start with? You want to start with books that we have read, or do we want to start with previews?
Let's jump on the books that we have read right quick.
Ooh, are we going to play What's in the Box?
Well, so I've got a couple of things going on here. Not only do I have what I've read from last week, but this was still in the car, so I've got what was purchased today. And there's something. Let me see. Oh, there it is, right on top. We have an ash can.
Yep.
So, but we'll get to what's in the bag here in a minute.
That better not be Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
No, it is not. I'm gonna go through these kind of quick so we can spend a little more time on.
That's right. See, you're losing our fans here.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he minds us being nice, just not nice to Nick.
Well, here's the thing about it. It's like having kids. You got to scold them when they do bad, but you got to praise them when they do good, and they've done good, so I've got to praise them a little bit.
I guess that tracks.
Oh, easy. I was going to ask you, because I don't keep up with a ton of the he said, she said crap.
Fair enough.
But I know that a lot of people were getting down on Tom Taylor for what he was doing to Nightwing a couple of months ago. And
yeah,
I've got, Nightwing issue 116.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people were coming down on him. I'm still enjoying the Tom Taylor run. What What were they coming down on him for?
They just think that he's doing too much day in the life of stuff and not moving the story along, not coming back with like a gripping, moving story is what the primary complaint is. I don't have to have everything be nonstop action all the time. I like that Nightwing takes the time to breathe. I think that's great. I've really enjoyed it. I'm curious to see what kind of tone he brings to detective when he moves over to it, because like he wrote Injustice, right? That was a very different kind of book from Nightwing.
Yep.
He's able to write more than one kind of style book. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does there. I think it's going to be good. But I have also continued to enjoy Nightwing. I do agree. I liked the Titans better in Nightwing than I liked them in the Titans.
Yep.
And I have not enjoyed the Titans.
Yeah,
I liked it when it first started, but I have not enjoyed it very much.
See, I fell off hard on the Titans.
Yeah, since Beast War, I haven't enjoyed it.
But you made a really good comment just a second ago about letting Nightwing breathe, and that's what this issue felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his journey to Nanda Parbat. I'll probably say it wrong. And how he knows Boston Brand, I thought that was really cool. I did really enjoy at the end of it, Batman putting on the Nightwing outfit.
That's a fun change of pace.
That was a very nice change of pace. I'm looking forward to the next issue simply because I want to see how Bruce portrays Nightwing.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's going to be a cool change of pace right there. But his run is coming to an end. Just a few more issues.
118. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, 2 more issues, and then it's over with. If you're Nightwing's been solid. Who's writing Nightwing after this?
I do not know.
I
have to see the previews.
If you're wanting to jump on Nightwing, I would wait 2 issues because we're so deep into this that you're going to have
Honestly,
to go back.
What I would do is start with the trades and read the Tom Taylor run, because the Tom Taylor run has been spectacular.
Oh yeah, the Tom Taylor run.
I say the Tom Taylor run because he's writing it, and that's not exactly accurate. Bruno Redondo has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
On art, just spectacular. His art has been, it's great art on its own, but it has been the perfect complement to the type of storytelling that Tom Taylor has been doing, and it has been a treat to read that book.
Everything they've done together has been perfect for Nightwing.
I could not agree more.
So I am looking forward to seeing, like you said, what direction he goes with Detective, because to me, Detective Comics, it's supposed to be darker, it's supposed to be grittier.
Yeah, it can't be it can't be slapstick fun Nightwing stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
unless we travel back to the 60s and we have Merman Batman and Space Batman and Scottish Batman.
Yeah. This next one's actually a couple of weeks old, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, and it's still new enough that if anybody's curious, they can jump on it. I don't know if there's any copies up at the shop, but it would still be easy to get.
Let's see.
Daredevil Woman Without Fear, issue number 1.
I still have 1 copy, maybe 2. I think I have 1 copy left at the shop.
I'm going to be honest with you. It was good. I was looking forward. I'm like, okay, we're going to see Elektra. We're going to kind of see, she's on a mission. She's got to play private investigator. She's got to figure this out. Oh, crap, the new Punisher's here.
I was very happy to see who that was pulling the trigger.
I got excited when he showed up. It was
not what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I got excited. And then, what was it? When,
coming in hard with the dad jokes.
But, I mean, the way that it ended with him saying, it's about time.
Yep.
Oof. Don't sleep on this one right here. If it's got Elektra, Daredevil, and the new Punisher in it, the Gravedigger of S.H.I.E.L.D., do not sleep on this book. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I like I said, I was very leery of the whole idea of Elektra ever putting on the Daredevil suit, uh, but it grew on me really fast for a few reasons. One, it's a great looking costume; she looks fantastic. Um, and it's one of those costumes that really works as a great superhero costume. It's got the intimidation factor. It's got a lot of movement to it, so when you're drawing it, you can capture all this dynamic flow and this kind of thing. But it's not just a TNA kind of a thing. It's actually showing off, um, uh, her as a character, not just focusing on, oh, how pretty is she? What is she doing for me? And I think that's, I'm all for gorgeous female characters in comics, but they don't have to be overly sexualized and all that kind of thing. And I think this is a really good example of how you can do that, and I really enjoy it. Plus, she's not trying to be Matt Murdock ever, and that's the problem you get when you start trying to put somebody else in a character's costume. Is, oh, they're just going to try and be that same character, and she doesn't try to do that. She's being her, and what holds her back is not, she wants to honor Matt's, what he stands for, right?
Yep.
And they've been really consistent with that about her. No matter who's writing these little miniseries or whatever, they've been really consistent about that, and I really appreciate that way that they talk about and the way that they show her characterization. I've really enjoyed that. Yeah, if you haven't seen the issue where Batman was in a kilt swinging down on a rope outside a castle, you really need to go back and look that up. It's a Batman book from it might be the 50s, but I think it's the early to mid 60s. It's something. It sure is a thing. It exists. It's out there.
Well, it's kind of funny because this kind of takes us to the same part of the world y'all are talking about, just kind of down the street a little bit. I do have a Birch book.
Birch book.
I got a Birch book, and that is Nottingham issue 14.
Next to last issue, the penultimate issue.
Next to the last issue, a little bit of a wraparound cover. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think we're ready for issue 15.
No,
this are gonna be bad.
It doesn't look like it's lining up for a happy ending. I'll say that.
No, it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be real bad, but I think it's gonna be real bad in a real good way.
I mean, here comes massive spoiler. You literally just poisoned your main character.
Yep.
What? Okay. We're not going to be ready for issue 15. I mean, we got to have these guys on the show and ask them who they think they are to do something like this.
It's rude. It's just rude.
It is. It's bad.
You put me on this emotional roller coaster, and then this is how you end. You just run me into the wall. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, you literally start out with the Sheriff of Nottingham. You don't like him.
Yep.
The further it goes into it, you don't like the Sheriff of Nottingham, but you like Robin Hood.
Right.
You get over halfway through the series, you like the Sheriff of Nottingham, but you hate Robin Hood.
Yep, it's just turning.
Now, by the end of the series, you don't know who to like or who to hate. You really don't even know who the legit main character is anymore. You just know that King Richard is a piece of trash.
Yes.
This has been like amazingly good.
It's one of those series that I think would make a really good, like, 2-season show.
Yeah.
I think it would be really good. I think that adaptation would be very sellable.
My only thing about it, and I think you and I have kind of talked about this in a private conversation before. The only thing that I have not liked about Nottingham actually happened in the first issue, and that was the murder of Will Scarlet.
Yep.
I've always felt like Will Scarlet has been the most underrated character that had the most potential out of everything Robin Hood we've ever seen.
Agreed.
I mean, we kind of got and I know this is going way back, and some people are going to roll their eyes, but I'm old, and you'll get over it. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, when Kevin Costner. Okay, if you look in the movie, we had a young Christian Slater as Will Scarlet. And people got a little bit excited over that. But then nothing ever came of it in the movie.
Well, you had the resolution where they found out that, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen this movie from 1992 or whatever, when you find out that they're brothers.
Yeah.
Right? And then they repair their relationship because Will turns against him, betrays him, and then goes over the wall with him. Oh, he cleared it. But yeah, you talk a character with a lot of untapped potential. He would have been fantastic.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the only thing that I have not liked about Nottingham. But that was one of those, honestly, with the story that they've told, I don't know if there is a place for Will Scarlet in this story.
Have you read the Stephen Lawhead books? Have you read any Stephen Lawhead books? Let's just start with that question.
No,
He had a trilogy that I picked up in 1986 that I thought was pretty darn good. One of the books in that was called The Warlords of Nin. Good book. Familiar. But he grew a lot as a writer. His Pendragon cycle, technically it was 5 books, but the first 4 books, some of the best King Arthur stuff I've ever read. As a matter of fact, Nick Ellis was just reading through the Pendragon cycle.
Oh, is that what y'all was talking about during that one text message thing?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's really, really good. But he wrote a series of 3 books. He wrote a trilogy of Robin Hood. And I believe, if I remember right, the books each just had a 1-word title. I think it was Hood, Scarlet, and Tuck were the 3 books.
So but
he espouses, he thinks that the whole setting of Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest, he said, if you ever been, he said, and Sherwood Forest has been in the middle of occupied countryside for a really long time. He said, Sherwood Forest is not big enough to get lost in, let alone hide in.
Yeah.
He said the only forest in England that matches that description at all is really over on the England and Wales border. And he said, so if you start digging into it, he's a big historian and researcher. And he's like, if you start digging into it, a lot of these tales have roots, at least, in some of the folk tales and things that come out of Wales. And so he set his Robin Hood story there on the English-Welsh border. And it was really, really good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's actually, I had to go to his website. It's called the King Raven Trilogy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out then.
Yeah.
That looks.
But if I remember right, the second book is called Scarlet.
Yeah, and the third book is called Tuck.
Yeah.
But there's another one on here that looks kind of interesting, and I know I'm about to butcher the name of this, and you're going to have to correct me. Byzantium.
Byzantium, yeah.
Byzantium, yes.
Yeah, that's a good book too.
That I've never heard of this guy. I'm gonna have to check this out.
Read the Pendragon cycle. Read the like the Iron Lance and all that stuff. That's good. The pretty much everything he did up through the Skin Map. I think I kind of lost it at the Skin Map. That just wasn't of interest to me. And he had a sci-fi book that I didn't really care for much either. It was okay. But other than that, Stephen Lawhead's a really good writer. Very smooth prose, great writer.
For those of you that are wondering, this is who we're talking about. I literally just copied and pasted the website I was on.
To that particular page for that one particular book.
Yeah, for that one particular book, sorry.
Byzantium, if you don't know, was the previous name for Constantinople.
Yep.
And then Istanbul. So Istanbul was Constantinople. but before that it was Byzantium. So when you have somebody talk about the Byzantine Empire, that's what they're talking about.
All right, cool. Okay, I've got something to check out now.
Yeah, you want to talk about a writer that you can just pick up and read through a pretty large portfolio of stuff. Um, like I said, I first read his first trilogy of books in 1986.
Wow.
And I read them many, many times. I've read the Pendragon Cycle many, many times. The Pendragon Cycle ties together the legend of King Arthur with the story of Atlantis.
Now that's cool.
In a fascinating, very cool way.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I think you will absolutely dig it because it makes so much sense. Like when they start talking about the Lady of the Lake.
Yep.
It's not like a woman came up out of a lake. It's like, here's your sword. But the Lady of the Lake is a descendant of Atlantis. And Atlantis is like in England and Ireland, and you have the fairy folk.
Yeah.
Well, that's they're not little tiny people flying around. They are the tall, fair, long-lived Atlantean blood.
Oh wow.
Really, really cool. I know we're so off topic from what we're going to talk about, but like I said, we were going to wander and stray afield. But phenomenal book, man. If you read the first book of that is Taliesin, I think. Then Merlin, then Arthur. Oh man, so good. But the way he ties in, and you see the sinking of Atlantis, you get all of that story as part of the Arthurian legend, as part of the Arthur story. Really, really good. See, look at this. I've given you this a whole new world.
A whole new, yeah. I'll definitely have to check that out. Because I don't have enough to read. You had said something. You know what? You had said something else that kind of led me off to another topic, but I'm going to stop right here because it's pretty bad. I felt like I needed to create a banner for it.
Sidetracked. We'll be back in a moment. For this commercial break that no one asked for is paid for.
This is the part where you go get more popcorn. Unless
I see the comments that are like dead. Nobody is talking about what are they talking about?
Yeah, what are they talking about? They have done gone into a personal conversation. All right, let's get back on track. I know that I don't know if you're still reading this book. I know that you didn't. It's not that you didn't like it. That I think you just didn't really and truly care for it. The first issue that come out.
You must be talking about Sanction.
Yeah, I stuck with it, and I've really enjoyed Sanction.
I picked them up hoping that if I read them as like kind of binged them a little bit, it would be better.
Have you read the third issue yet?
No, I haven't read 2 or 3. I just read the first one. I was like, ugh, did not care for that.
Okay, so the whole thing takes place in Russia, and basically there is a serial killer that no one knows is at work. One Russian detective is starting to figure it out, but the problem is he has not closed a case in like apparently years, and nobody really has faith in him. And the guy who
closes, let's be honest, would you?
Yeah, really. The guy who closes the most cases, the one that's supposed to be the hot shot, just keeps telling him, hey, look, let it go. Here's a simple explanation. They're going to buy it. This does not happen here. We don't have these type of cases here. You're making this, you need a win. Take the win. Well, in this issue, he finds his serial killer. He literally finds him. And he calls for backup. Well, the super cop, the super detective, basically doesn't tell anybody. He's just going to go out there and just kind of, for the last time, set this guy straight. And he ends up stumbling into the middle of it also. And at the end of the issue, they're going into the serial killer's cabin with guns drawn, and they think they've got him, but they don't got him. This has been a really good dark thriller, to be honest with you. I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think Tots would really enjoy it. I don't think Nick would enjoy it because, let's be honest, The Nightmare Before Christmas scared Nick. So
he does have an odd tolerance level for things that have any kind of suspense, tension, or fear to them. That does amuse me. So yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas was probably about the edge of
yep.
his tolerance level.
Next on my list, and
Let me go back and ask you that question before
oh,
sanction. Because I picked up issues 2 and 3. Um, but if I binged that, is that something that you think would be better read in that context? Do you think I will enjoy that?
this is one of those books that it's going to be, yes, better read either binged or in trade form. It's one of those that you need to see the entire story play out at one time instead of over several months.
Got it. Well, I
Yeah,
will do that.
yeah.
So yeah, Blue Hellion. Oh, I'm Batman, and some things in here don't react too well to bullets.
Next up, Free Comic Book Day did not do this book any justice. I don't think it helped this book at all.
You must be talking about Rook.
No, something totally different.
Because it did. That book certainly didn't help.
But I'm afraid people are going to sleep on it because of Free Comic Book Day. But this has actually been cool and it's been fun, and that is Gotcha Man issue 2.
Oh no, I agree with you about that too. The Free Comic Book Day book did not, and people didn't take it either. We got left with a bunch of those, a whole bunch of those. Um, People took a whole lot of Flash Gordon though.
Yes, I've got a Flash Gordon #1 over there, in fact. But I mean, look, we've got some really good art. I
It
mean,
does take you back to the cartoon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does take you back to the cartoon. I mean, especially, look at that back cover.
Yep.
We're getting a little more backstory. We're getting there's actually a Ninja Science team, like backup team. They're going to end up playing into it somehow. It's just been really, it's been good. The Free Comic Book Day did not do this any favors, but the first 2 issues have been good reads. They've been solid reads. It's so with these 2, you have 2 very intense reads. We've got a lot of psychological drama going on here, and it's a slow burn. And here we don't really know what to think. It's nice. I cannot believe I'm about to say this, and thank God only about 50 people watch this show. This is a nice palate cleanser for stuff like this. It really is. It's fun. It's kind of sophomore-ish, but not like sophomore type humor. It's just been a good read, and I do suggest picking this up. If you need something a little different, a little lighter, not as intense as some of the stuff that I'm always telling y'all about, I would definitely pick that up. And now we're going to go to very possibly the most intense thing that I read last week, that I loved every minute of it. And I probably need to seek counseling to try to figure out why I loved every minute of it. But that is Epitaphs from the Abyss.
Oh, yes. I also have that to talk about.
So here's my thing on it. If you would have dropped this book that just come out last week in the middle of the 70s on a rack or on a magazine rack in between creepy and eerie, it would have fit in just fine.
Oh, yeah.
This book literally felt like reading those old horror novels.
One of my favorite things, and it's dumb.
Yeah.
But it's the Gravedigger. One of my absolute favorite things. They brought back that whole stupid narrator guy who presents the stories that are being told. I don't know why it worked to have the Crypt Keeper and all these guys, but this one's got the Gravedigger, and it works. It's great.
Yeah. Once again, I mean, as far as, and I mean, I'm not trying to make anybody mad or anything, but as far as like the people that we talk about in our personal lives to comic books over, there's only one that's going to like this, and it's going to be Tots. If you're into horror, you know, for those of you that don't know us, if you're into horror, if you want to give it a try, it is great. That last story, I was kind of, I don't know exactly what you're trying to tell me. I don't know if I should agree with you or be mad at you as far as this last story is concerned.
Yeah, I did not care for it. I'm
It
like, you made me uncomfortable.
that last story would make a lot of people uncomfortable.
Yes.
But
But the
it's,
last story, interestingly, is the one that's also represented by the cover.
yeah. I
You
mean,
got the people hiding under the bed as these gross mutated creatures. One with an axe goes by. Um, yeah, one with a chainsaw. No, really, really good. And it does feel like such a throwback. So it's the first time, and I think they said 60 years, that anything new has been published under the EC banner. So not since the 60s has anything new been published under the EC banner. Certainly not horror. That was in the 50s. Fan freaking tastic. This is really good. And this week, the sci-fi version of this comes out, Cruel Universe.
mm-hmm.
And I just, for anybody who is like on the fence going, do I want this? The cover should answer that question for you. If nothing else, the cover should absolutely answer that question for you, because it's impossible as a human not to want this book. You have a like Apollo era, maybe slightly later, NASA astronaut facing off against a Tyrannosaurus Rex inside a ring while a bunch of people are watching. You got an astronaut fighting a T-Rex. It doesn't matter what else happens in this book. You want this book for that, if nothing else. This is fantastic. This is so much fun.
And that is definitely a throwback to like some of the art that you would see from the 70s, like the pop culture art from the 60s and 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed by it. There's one, the second short story, all three of them were good. It was 3 short stories, but the one that was in the middle was extremely creepy. It was called Family Values.
Oh, that was... Ooh.
Yeah, because at first you don't understand what's going on, and then when you figure out what's going on, oh yeah, it was pretty creepy. The third one, I really need more people to read the third one in here, just because I would like to hear their take on it.
Daniel, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think really Oni Press just, and I think might have even been Brian Azzarello that brought the idea to him, but Oni Press was just like, look, horror is doing really well, and I think this nostalgic kind of horror would sell. And nothing sells this nostalgic kind of horror like EC. Let's just see if we can use their logo, see if they would bless us doing this. And they said, yeah, okay. So they've gone out and published it, and fantastic. It's so good. I'm the only thing that makes me sad is it's already their limited series, right? Like that could be an ongoing series. I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. When they did that book, I'll argue this. I mean, I don't care if they come on the show next week and they want to tell me they did not do this. I'll argue with them about it. When they created that book, they did their homework.
Oh, 100%. These were clearly by fans who enjoyed those books.
Yes. And I mean, like I said, you could literally stick it on the shelf in the 60s or 70s and it fits right in. I mean, I've got several creepy and eerie magazines at home because I mean I enjoy that stuff and it fits right in with them. I mean, it's not like it would not be a sore thumb in that collection on any level.
I have to tell you, Alan, while I'm thinking about it, Daniel came into the store on Saturday, and we spent a good long time talking GI Joe and the upcoming stuff that's coming in from the Energon universe, all that stuff. You would have loved to have been in that conversation. You ever get the chance to talk GI Joe, and I'm talking toys, comics, the whole 9 yards, with somebody, you and Daniel should talk because that's a fantastic conversation. I'm using the word fantastic a lot today. I'm noticing. I'll try and switch to a different adjective.
Switch to a different adjective.
It's brilliant. It's bloody brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I've got 5 left, but I can blow through these pretty quick.
Let's do it.
So, Green Arrow issue 14 is very possibly the most slept on book in the DC universe, which is also very possibly the best book going in DC right now. It is an absolute power tie-in. This book is so solid. Green Arrow's not even in it. It's the supporting cast, and it's still great.
Wow. Okay.
He's really and truly not in this issue. Green Arrow is so far down the rabbit hole with Amanda Waller.
Yep.
That you cannot pick up the Green Arrow book right now unless you're just picking up a tie-in to get the overall story. I highly recommend picking up Green Arrow once Absolute Power is over with. I don't know when this one came out. Last week before last month. I don't know, but Rook Exodus issue 4 gets better with every single issue.
It really does.
So good.
And the artwork continues to be the absolute highest level.
Yes.
Hyper detailed, exquisitely rendered art. It's beautiful.
This right here, I'm hoping this is the actual cover for Rook Exodus 5.
Yeah, I think it is.
Because that is absolutely beautiful. But with what happens at the end of this book, I kind of have a theory on this. Well,
boy, that's the question, isn't it?
Bill, are you reading Rook Exodus?
But from that question, I think he has to be.
Well, here's my thing on it. And in this particular issue, he does talk about how the birds fight against him.
Yes.
He's, pretty much his helmet is off of him now. He's lost that connection. Are we going to see some type of connection between him and the birds without the helmet?
Well, I kind of get that impression because he's like, I can still hear them. And maybe he's crazy, right? He might just not be all there because he has all these voices all the time. Bah, 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 like, thank God they're the ravens and not the seagulls. Like, mine. But he's got that going on in his head all the time, right? Screaming at him. He's got to be a little bit nuts. But is he nuts, or does he actually have that connection without the helmet? And I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, now this right here, I loved this shot. I thought it was gorgeous. I wished this had been more of the centerfold of it.
Is this because you have a little bit of a crush on Ka?
No, actually, I'm talking about where the wolves are running with the ravens.
Yeah.
Or the crows. I just thought that was just gorgeous. Yes, Ka is there's going to be a big, massive fight between Ka and Direwolf one day.
Let me ask you a question about this, right? And I mean this in all seriousness.
All right.
If this book were being published in 1982, there would be a toy line.
And it would be amazing.
And how amazing would that toy line be? Can you imagine? I mean, if you could get like the G.I. Joe classified type of sculpts for those characters, but picture, they've got the characters, they've got the animals, they've got the ships, they've got it's everything you would ever want in a toy line, and it's
Yep.
all right there. And there's a big part of me that wonders, did Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok, uh, do they have that in mind? Did they think about that? Um, I don't know. But a toy line for that particular comic would be stupendous. I would eat that up.
If you did not go with like Hasbro and the whole GI Joe classified with what they're doing, just along those lines,
Yeah.
McFarlane Toys would knock that out of the park.
Hyper detailed, right?
Yeah.
They don't have as good an articulation. Their figures don't, but the hyper detail is there. If
Yeah.
you just want posable statues, yeah, they're fantastic. I just said it again. My lord, I've got to find a new word.
Well, Bill, that's what I'm talking about. You had that bird following him, or in issue 5, are the birds going to save him? Is that connection still there? Will he actually make a proper connect? Because we can already see what's happening. Direwolf and Ka are going to end up squaring off in an epic battle,
which I'm all here for. I mean,
yep.
That's Scarlet and Baroness like duking it out. I'm here to see that.
Yeah, Rook and Ursal, they're going to have to go head to head.
Ursal is so insanely powerful
and is so intense.
Yeah. And what's
character.
the turtle dude's name?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
Whatever his name is. I love that.
So there's a part of me that if Turtle Dude took his helmet off, I would not be shocked if it was Ezekiel from The Walking Dead.
I know that would be awesome.
I don't know why.
That would be an awesome look, though.
So, moving on to my next one, and to use apparently your new favorite word, it's Fantastic Four, issue number 22.
One of the best covers in a long time of anything. That cover is great.
Yeah, and the cover directly pertains to the story.
Yep.
They're wrapping up Blood Hunt. The little 2 issues that Fantastic Four had with Blood Hunt, I enjoyed them. I thought they were good. Yep. I have read Blood Hunt 5. I'm glad it's wrapping up. I'm glad it's over with. Let's move on with our lives. I
thought it was a relatively satisfying ending. I mean, it wasn't earth-shattering or anything. And once again, I do not understand the point of the red band at all, other than to get another $1 because they put it in a bag. But I thought it was a relatively satisfying ending. I think the whole story, I still stand by it. I think Jed McKay was pitching that story as something he wanted to do in Moon Knight, and the editorial got all excited and said, let's just make this a whole big summer event. I really think that's what happened. I would have to hear it straight from somebody at Marvel to believe anything different.
My whole thing on it, though, is the ending was predictable and it was inevitable. It was going to happen for the simple fact that it happened in main continuity. Yeah. There was no really other way to end it. So maybe that's why it fell flat for me, because there was no consequences to any of it except Doom. I mean, that's a major consequence.
That was a major consequence. Let's be honest.
I thought that was cool, but now that also puts me in a thing of, do I got to buy 45 comic books that I would not normally read over the course of the next couple of months to get the whole Doom story?
I don't think so, but I will say I thought that Doom, like, you never trust Doom. Stephen Strange, you know that. Never trust Doom, and then you trusted Doom. And that's like the ultimate picking up the snake and carrying it across the river and it bit you. Or the scorpion and it stung you, whatever. It's like, well, you knew what I was when you picked me up. Yep, sure did. Never trust Doom.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that page. For those of y'all that have not read it or did not plan on reading it, you might actually have to read it now. But Doom is the new Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? So yeah, to me, I mean, I did like that. That was kind of cool, but
that was unexpected. I sure didn't see that coming.
Yeah, very unexpected. Now, so going from something that was unexpected to something that was expected, I'm spoiled. I understand I'm spoiled. There's nothing that can be done about it. Jed McKay, this is all your fault because every time I see a Moon Knight book now, I automatically know it's going to be good.
Yep.
This book was not
got
good.
A feeling.
This book was friggin' epic. This was great.
Oh, the number 7? Yes.
Yeah, so good. But it's once again, it's the end of Blood Hunt. Mark Spector is back. We knew that was going to happen.
That scene with him and Tigra.
Yes, I love.
Tell me you didn't get a little misty, like you didn't get a little something in your eye.
Like we said, who in the world ever thought that somebody was going to take what is essentially a throwaway character like Tigra and make her mean something
without doing anything radical to her? Just good writing.
Yeah, just good writing.
Just good writing. It shows that any character is interesting. It's all about how you write them.
And there was a couple of subtle touches in this that I really enjoyed, and one of them was the fact that Khonshu calls Tigra daughter. And
I caught that too. I thought that was good.
I thought that was a very nice touch. And then Mark finally calling Khonshu father.
Yep.
I thought that, yeah.
If you go back in Tigra's history, and I don't remember, I think it was her first appearance. We have it on the wall at the store. We did until recently anyway. I think we still do. It was like a giant size something or whatever it was. Anyway, she's a were-tiger. She turns into a tiger at night. So there could very well be a tie between her and Khonshu.
Yeah.
In her original origin. Could very well be. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was excited by it. No, I'm glad you finally got to read it because I've been sitting on that one for a little bit, and what a great book.
So just
for anybody not reading Moon Knight, the Jed McKay 30-issue run of Moon Knight, fantastic. Vengeance of Moon Knight after the death of Mark Spector is 9 issues. Superlative. Better than it has any right to be, right?
Yeah, because then after that, we get something else.
We get Mark Spector, Fist of Khonshu, or something like that. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, whatever it is. It's starting over with a new number 1. Don't let that deter you. It's really number 40 of this ongoing Moon Knight saga. And it is phenomenal. He is doing such a great job. The characters are all so well used, and it makes you care about bizarre, oddball, like Q list, R list, S list characters like 8-Ball.
Yeah.
Who gives a crap about an old Ghost Rider villain who wears a magic 8-Ball on his head? It's the dumbest thing in the world from the 70s when somebody was clearly on a lot of drugs. And I'm joking. But anyway, no, he makes you care about a character that you have no business caring about, but he makes him cool. He makes him awesome, relatable. You feel for the guy. He's trying to turn his life around, and you want him to succeed.
And another B-list or probably even D-list character, Soldier.
Soldier's not even on the list, let's be honest.
But there, you have to admit, though, the way McKay has written Soldier in the background of the majority of the issues, and then every once in a while he kind of comes to the foreground.
Yep.
There's a small part of you somewhere that says, I think I could support a Soldier solo book.
Oh, I'd read it.
Um,
I'd read it. I think I do suspect because I think Jed McKay has got he likes to tell these stories with a lot of immediacy and a lot of things going on, but I think he also likes to weave in some threads of things that are going to happen much later. And I think he has been playing a very long game with Soldier. I think Soldier is going to have a prominent role in the Marvel Universe sometime soon, and it's going to take everybody by surprise. And everybody is going to say, "Who is this guy?" And then they're going to start trying to dig up and find his first appearance, and they're going to go like, "God, this guy's been around forever," and nobody knew. And I think that's how that's going to come down. I really do.
um, I would like to see Soldier go off on a solo mission for Khonshu, and then next time we see Soldier is on the Indian reservation in Werewolf by Night.
Oh man, I would read that so hard.
That I think that those two, that could be like the Marvel's horror buddy cop, type book.
Oh yeah, it would be great.
Because I feel like that sooner or later Jed McKay is going to bring Werewolf by Night into it somehow, some way.
Yep.
What looks to be the cover for next month, or actually in a couple of weeks. Oh, that looks so good. And then my last book, we'll just jump right to it. No One issue 10.
Yep. Your face betrays your feelings.
I mean, I really enjoyed No One, but it was almost anticlimactic.
Yep.
It ultimately, you still don't know who was helping him, who was in the No One outfit.
But some things we called like issue 1, right? You particularly were like, I think there's more than one person here.
Yeah.
And you nailed some of that like right from the jump.
Yeah, I mean it was good. I think the big problem with No One, and I know that it was beyond their control, was that big massive break that was taken.
God, that absolutely killed their momentum because it was building up and building up and building up, and then they just had this huge, many months long break between what was it, issue 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Or 6, 5, and 6, or 6 and 7. I think it was 6 and 7. But it was months and months and months and months and months, and so a lot of people don't really think about this, but a comic book has momentum. And if it loses that momentum, it's really hard to get it back. And when you only have 7, 8, 9, and 10 to capture all that momentum back, that's a hard row to hoe. And it never really did for me.
Yeah.
Like it was interesting. And issue number 9 was like it was starting to get that momentum back. And I was thought, we're building up to a killer finale here. And it's going to be fully on board and we're going to be back. And it really just kind of, it fell a little flat for me. It was, it didn't close enough of the loops. It was a little open-ended. It was a little predictable. And maybe we're just too smart because we saw some of this coming or what have you. But it ended okay. But it didn't end with the finale with the holy smokes, what did I just read that I wanted it to.
If they really and truly honestly, there's only one way that he could have shocked me with that ending. And that is if you would have seen No One and Aaron crawl out of the river on the same side together, both of them look back, No One take the helmet off, and it was the younger brother because they had faked his death.
Yep.
And he says, I think we got away with it. And they leave. They disappear. That would have been a much better ending. I don't I know it was very open-ended. They could very easily, Kyle Higgins could very easily make he could make a sequel to it, but I don't know if there's a point to a sequel to it. Just
Not unless
because,
he has something different to say.
yeah, but because at the way this one left off with the whole several months down the road, this box, it's all these videotapes, and then it is a note, I am no one. To me, that was enough closure for that story. So unless it's like almost like Tron Legacy, really didn't have a ton to do with Tron, but it was the legacy. So maybe like a no one legacy is for next. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I will say no one has been optioned for a show, like
And
on
I watched it.
Netflix
I
or
mean, I will
something.
watch that. I think it could be very good.
Yeah, I will too. I'll be curious to see how it goes. I think it's a smart show to do. It's got a lot of suspense. It's got a lot of action. It's got intrigue. It's got a lot of emotional uh, gravitas to it. Um, and it should be a relatively budget friendly thing to do, right? You've got the one costume you got to make. There's no fancy millionaire with a cave and a car, and it's all pretty down to earth stuff except for the one costume, and that's not anything outrageous by today's standards. Should be a very filmable show. And
I
if
mean,
they do it right, it could be great.
the copycats are even simpler costume.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally just a bag over somebody's head.
Yep.
But it was very simple and effective with what he did with that.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to talk about a book that came out this week, which we don't normally do a lot of. We usually lag a week so that people have time to read them. But this came out this week. Uncanny X-Men #1, written by Gail Simone, art by David Marquez. Gail Simone did with this book what I hoped Jed MacKay would do with the X-Men book. It starts fresh. It starts in the aftermath of the Krakoa story, and they're like emotionally dealing with some of that stuff. But it's, if you never knew that Krakoa existed, you could pick this up and read it and just think, I don't know why these characters are sad to start this book off. But so we're kind of starting at that point. But she tells a great story. It's a fantastic opening salvo. The mutants are hated. The mutants are hunted. One of the first things that happens in here, I think it is actually not, I think it is the first thing that happens in here, is somebody comes in and is turning Professor X's mansion into a prison for mutants. And they're going to they're either going to destroy Cerebro, which is what they talk about doing, but I get the impression they might find a way to use Cerebro to find mutants so they can go arrest them or kill them.
Okay.
But when she's telling one guy to destroy all this stuff at the mansion, and he's like, yeah, but I can't do that without the public knowing about it. And she's like, we want the public to know about it. Our cause is righteous. It's just. We want to burn the witches at the stake. We don't want to do it like hidden behind a barn, right? We want it to be right in the town square. So she's serious. And it's very, very interesting. They bring in a prisoner. They don't show you who it is, but you've got some guesses, if you're a fan of the X titles, but you don't have to know. There's a scene here where there's a kid in a hospital, and they go to visit, and it's sad. There's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in the book. The characters are really well written, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed, because Gail Simone's always going to deliver this. She delivers characters that you can relate to, and they feel like the characters you've known for a long time, right? it feels like Wolverine. It feels like Gambit. It feels like Rogue. Uh, and I really appreciate that. So Gail Simone did a phenomenal job with this book. David Marquez did a phenomenal job with this book. You want to look at some of the interesting things. Um, One of the first things they go up to face against is like Quetzalcoatl. It's like this feathered dragon snake thing.
Now that looks cool.
Oh, it's great. Um, and it's a funny thing because you know the eye of Agamotto that Doctor Strange has.
Yeah.
Well, Agamotto had two eyes.
Not figures.
This Quetzalcoatl guy's got the other one. And the way that they resolve this threat is brilliant. It's very clever, absolutely brilliant. Gail Simone did a phenomenal job with the characterization. The artwork is gorgeous. There's some underlying things going on that you just makes you want to know more. Like I want to see what I want to pull that thread. I want to see where that leads to with each of these characters, which I really appreciate. But and I had forgotten this, even though we had just talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Really, 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 really ticked me off when I got to the last page and it was this.
So they did it again.
Well, they said they were going to do it on the number ones of all these X books. But I got to the last page and it is this freaking something I paid for is hidden behind a QR code. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
no.
that's
Marvel,
dumb right there.
Absolutely not. I will not play that game. Who knew that was a line? You know, I was going to stand like, do not cross this line. No. I refuse to play that game, and I hope to goodness everybody sends Marvel a letter telling them that is unacceptable. Do not ever do this again. Because this is the first step of a path they're going to try and push everybody down, and it's not a path anybody wants to go down.
Yeah,
and they're going to use this to justify taking additional steps towards digital only. And do not let them do that. Make your voice heard. Let them know that you think that is a bunch of BS. You paid for the whole story, not for the story plus some homework. And God help you if you had the money to scrape together for this comic, but you don't own a $1,000 smartphone. So I'm sorry, I don't have a smartphone. I can't read my whole comic book. I can't get the last page that's so important. You were worried that's about spoilers. And yet it's so important I don't get what I paid for in this book. I don't think so. Shame on you, Marvel. Shame on you for doing this. And you left. I was so happy to enjoy an X-Men book for the first time in ages. And I mean, I was so happy to enjoy this. And then I got to that last page, and that left a very bad taste in my mouth. Shame on you, Marvel.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, as much as I love Daredevil and Moon Knight, the minute they start that in those two books, I'm done. I mean, I'm done. I'll just. I think those are closing in on some of the last Marvel books that I read anyway. As far as this book actually come out last week,
I'll say, Daniel, this title is very easy to pick up for new readers. Gail Simone does a phenomenal job of all the old school things you're supposed to do in comics, right? The first time somebody talks, they either say their name or they say the name of the person they're talking to, so you know who it is. Those little details that you used to do in every single comic, and they don't do anymore. Nobody does that anymore. She does all of that stuff, and she starts at a place you don't have to know anything that happened before. You've just got these three cool characters, and you're trying to figure out like what they're doing, how they're going around, why they're doing what they're doing, where they end up. Yeah, it's really good. Gail Simone did a fantastic job. She's an amazing writer. She's one of my favorites that's writing comics in the modern era. And then for me to get to the end of this, like, welcome back, X-Men. God, it's good to see you. I've missed you guys. And to be met with that stupid QR code, I'm dead serious. I would ask everybody who is a comics fan to hit up Marvel, Marvel.com, whatever their email is. They put it in the back of every comic book. Hit them up and let them know that's not acceptable.
Put them on blast on Twitter.
See, Blue Hellion, see, if they can tick me off, I don't get ticked off easy. If they can tick me off, they've done something wrong. Not just like they did something I don't agree with. They did something wrong. And I think this is absolutely wrong. I think it's immoral. And I know that's like drawing a big word into this conversation about comic books. But I really do. I think that what they have done here is it's robbery. I think it's absolutely wrong. And I want people to make their voices heard. Let them know that is not acceptable so that they do not perpetuate this nonsense. Because once they get something like this in their teeth, they're going to think they've got this cool thing going on. And they're going to start really pushing it. And we've got to let them know now that we're not on board with it.
Yeah, we've kind of, I know some people are going to think that we've ran that, into the ground and we've beat that dead horse at this point, but we really haven't. I mean, they're going to screw up the future of comic books if we don't say something.
I mean, this makes exactly twice that I've said anything. So
blast it on Instagram. Blast it on Twitter. Go hit them in the places where they have to pay attention.
Like I said, I sent a very strongly worded letter to Marvel's vice president of marketing. I haven't hit them on blast in public. And I'm not. That's not a tactic I generally like, but it may be the only way to do it. I don't know, to get their attention. It's just not right. It's absolutely not right. You can't sell somebody something, withhold something that's so critical to the story that they're afraid it might be spoiled. And I would go back to this point. When was the last time a spoiler ruined anything for comics? Spoilers drive up sales, not down. They drive sales up. Let's talk, for example, the death of Superman. That was called the death of Superman. Literally everybody knew what was going to happen in that book, and sales skyrocketed, right? But if they went back historically, and we talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, if they look back historically, the last page of Amazing Spider-Man 299, that's not the first appearance of Venom anymore. The last page of Hulk 180, that's not the first appearance of Wolverine anymore. That's just some pixels somewhere. So whatever you're putting on the last page that's so important, it's the thing that's supposed to draw me in and make me want to read the next issue of the book. You just stole that from me. But you're going to include it in the trade paperback? Are you kidding? So to get the whole story, I have to buy the issues and now the trade paperback, or just wait and then buy the trade. It's absolutely criminal. It makes no sense. It's like the logic of a lawyer, and it's an accountant. It's the logic of an accountant, and I despise it. Yep. It has no business being in comics. Man, I'm so mad. I don't get mad, and I'm as mad now as I was 2 weeks ago.
Well, let's do this right quick, and then we can get it back on track. I was in the shop today. I did not pick this up last week because, like usual, I filmed a short. And then after I filmed the short, instead of buying the comic book, I put it right back on the friggin' shelf. I've done that multiple times. But I got lucky and it was still there. So I was going to tell y'all, at least as far as our little corner of the world is concerned, there's only a couple of copies left on the shelf at the store. So you better grab it quick.
I have to say, for that short, two things about it. One did not surprise me, and I loved that it didn't surprise me, and the other did surprise me. The thing that did not surprise me was the song that you chose for that video. Could it have been anything else? I'd say not. Flash. Had to be, and it was great. But out of nowhere, and maybe it was because of the song. I'm not convinced that it wasn't. Uh, that particular short got a ton of views. So many people watched that one. Absolutely loved it. I do wonder if the song might have played a role in it.
I don't know, but okay. Sorry.
I forgot. After the bad taste was put in my mouth of the X-Men book, I flipped to the end, and in the letters page, because it's the first issue of a new series, it was a letter from Gail Simone saying her thoughts on the book and when they came to ask her to do the book and why she decided to take it. All those cool things. Kind of like the first issue of Fantastic Four where Ryan North laid out, here's my vision for the Fantastic Four and what they should be, right? And little did she know that Gail Simone was giving us a shout out at Haven. Because the new place where the X-Men are safe in the middle of the swamps of Louisiana. Look at this, guys. Welcome to Haven, recruits. There you go. Thank you, Gail. Thank you for the shout out. Welcome to Haven. Does my little heart good. Pitter pat. We're at almost 14,000 backers for the Cobra Rattler.
Oh, I meant to tell you, Walmart in Madison, guess what was on the shelf the other day?
What was on the shelf?
Big Boa, Quick Kick, and Recondo.
Sweet.
Yep. So
I love when I see pictures of guys on Facebook or take pictures of their Walmart and it looks just like 1982.
Yep.
Actually, it's not right. It looks better than 1982. It looks like 1984, 85, 86. Just G.I. Joe stuff. Oh, it just does my heart good to see it. What a beautiful thing. All right, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, bam.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let's see what we got going on. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that there's something Terminator coming out soon.
Yeah, I can't imagine where you would pick that up. Like, where'd that idea come from? You thinking there might be a new Terminator comic coming?
There might be a new Terminator comic book coming out.
You know, there just might be. It might even be on the sign-up sheet at the store already.
And you know what?
I'm pretty sure Matt Posey's already signed up for it.
I'm not saying anything bad about it, but at this point, Terminator hadn't been able to kill John Connor. It's time to come up. It's time to just give it up.
Right? You can't beat him, join him. I think you started on the backside with the toys, didn't you?
I probably did. I don't know. Let's see what we got going on.
You did, because it's a flip book, and you started on the backside with the toys.
Ooh. The gods above, the creeping below. That just sounds interesting.
It looks like it's got a very, set in the modern or future take on old gods of Appalachia.
God, that is such a good podcast. So good.
Metal, magic, and murder. It's Brian Azzarello who wrote that first story in Epitaphs from the Abyss. But yeah, the creeping below looks really good. Vicarious looks interesting. I think you... Oh, I see. Yeah. Vicarious looks really interesting. It's written by Ryan Parrott, who wrote a lot of Power Rangers back in the day before Kyle Higgins took over.
So
you're still in the ads up front. You haven't got to the actual preview section yet.
Yeah, because I like to take my time and savor the moment.
Yeah, but get to the actual previews where you can look at the books and talk about it.
Well, good Lord, Josh, give me a second. I gotta look. You're
killing me, Smalls.
Look at Dead Samurai. That just looks awesome.
Don't think I didn't already put you down on the list for it.
You're rushing me through this. How am I supposed to sell Matt Posey on all this stuff?
I'm not rushing you through it. I'm wanting you to get to the full page ads about it. where
What
they
page,
actually have the solicits, not just an ad saying, "Look further in the book. We're going to talk about this."
what page?
Start on page 33. Is where the actual books start.
Page 33.
There you go.
All right.
That Vicarious, it looks pretty good.
Okay, some type of Yakuza, Tron.
I think you just nailed it. Yakuza and Tron, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. But look, I wasn't joking when I said look at the creeping below.
I need that book.
I think I already have you on the list. In nature, there are gods older than the devil. Nothing can prepare you for what's coming in this violent, electrifying descent into the bloody, black metal infused revenge saga. It looks really good.
It is so funny that they put it that way because in Old Gods of Appalachia in the podcast, they're talking about basically Hornhead.
Yeah.
And as they describe him in the podcast as older than the Christian devil.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting way of putting it. Yes, this
But I mean, look at the deer in the background of the page there on the right. If you get close on that, with the camera cam, look at those fangs. That deer ain't supposed to have those fangs.
Look at Hornhead from Old Gods of Appalachia. He's a deer. He's a stag.
Yeah, there was a Celtic god named Cernunnos who has deer antlers, the horned god. Yeah.
I tell you what, guy. You know what? You might as well go ahead and put Tots down for it too.
I didn't do that. So Tots, you have to sign up for this one on your own, brother. But I did put you on it.
Mike Donato Jr. Oh man.
And flip that page, look, dude, with the rock and roll, the black metal.
Yep.
This has got you all over it.
And who wrote this?
Brian Azzarello.
And why is Brian Azzarello in my head? I mean,
well, he wrote 100 Bullets at Vertigo, but he also just wrote the first story in Epitaphs from the Abyss.
Yeah.
So you just read something that he wrote. But yeah.
That just looks wicked right there.
That's Jay Lee, man. Jay Lee doing Jay Lee. You can't beat that. Minor Arcana is a Jeff Lemire book that I think Kaylisa is really going to like.
I've got the first issue at the house, but I have not read it yet. Does she? Because I mean, does she want it? I mean, I can bring it to the store.
Oh, I think I put it in her box.
Okay, gotcha.
But then there's a bunch of just the next issue of a thing, so we don't necessarily need to talk about that. We can scroll on through a little bit. Power Rangers Across the Morphin Grid #1 is interesting when you look at the group of people writing it.
That's what I was
David Yost, the Blue Ranger, Walter Jones, the Red Ranger, the Black Ranger. You got all these Rangers writing these stories, but that doesn't mean they'll be good, but we'll see what happens.
Now, Power Rangers fans, who is this?
I was wondering that too. I have no idea who that is.
I've got to find some better lighting.
Yeah, you got a little bit of glare there, which is weird because that's pretty matte paper.
Yeah, and the bad thing is if I go, well, it's where this...
Can you angle it on your keyboard there, maybe?
Let me see if I can...
We're still experimenting with the comic cam, so apologies.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's better, though. The glare is not nearly as bad.
Yeah. I need to find me, like, some type of little podium.
You need a stand.
Yeah.
Camera stand.
So apparently we're getting several Rangers books.
Yep. A lot of those are reprints and stuff like that, though. Trades. You flip over, you got Berserker's Bloodlines, which is like Berserkers with a Genghis Khan sort of a book. Oh, you skipped a page over the Berserker Bloodlines book.
Yeah, I saw that.
Got it.
I was kind of disappointed in Berserker.
I was too. I like the idea of a good Eternal Warrior kind of a book. It just wasn't what I wanted. Put me down for that one too. You want the creeping below, Daniel? We'll take care of that. You got it. If you look on page 64 at the cover for Uncanny Valley number 6, boy, that tells you something. It's an animator's desk.
Yep.
That's something. Scrolling on through. Gonna have to get to the next publisher, Dynamite. And you get to Dynamite on page 76, and boom, there's this book called Terminator. I do like the tagline, if at first you don't succeed, look for targets of opportunity. That cracks me up.
Now, I did like in that one Terminator movie, I can't remember which one it was, they weren't just going after John Connor, or they were going after his team.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good twist. I mean, the art was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And then there's Barbarella. I didn't know we needed that to come back. But there she is.
I will always remember Barbarella is this campy Jane Fonda movie that I shouldn't have stayed up so late, and I wasn't supposed to because I was a child to watch.
That sounds right. See, this Last of the Gladiators is a graphic novel hardcover. And I don't know. I like the format of comics. Occasionally, I'll take a flyer on a graphic novel. But usually, it's hard to take a flyer on something where they're going to charge you $35 or $40 and you don't know if you're going to like it. The investment in a $4 comic is a lot easier than a graphic novel. So I don't know.
Is Red Sonja really and truly that big of a seller for them?
I think she sells a lot of covers.
Understandable.
Because Lord knows they print a lot of covers, but I don't know. I do have to say, if you turn to page 96, there's something there I think that might be of interest to you.
Let's see what we got. The Puppet Master.
30th Anniversary Collector's Trading Card Set.
Nice. That is pretty cool.
I thought you might like that.
Oh, I guess we would be remiss not to mention Justin Birch's in the middle of the show. Bless you.
Oh, yeah.
He's all excited. There's more Lorcana coming out tomorrow. Now, I am looking forward to the new Johnny Quest.
Yeah, I had somebody mention that at the shop today, in fact. Like, I'm excited for the new Johnny Quest, and I hope that it is a huge, huge hit. I really do.
If it's anything like that little preview that we got in Space Ghost, I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm scrolling through now to find the next. I think you're going to love the cover, page 112, the cover for Space Ghost number 6. That's pretty impressive.
That is pretty slick right there.
I mean, look at that.
Give me just a second.
Although that's Matina, so you better count how many fingers he's got on each hand. You're trying to find a better lighting source?
That's hot.
That's hot. Not the way you meant. On page 122, I mean, you got to flip to that. I'm just trying to give it. That's a weird cover.
Well, page what?
122.
That is kind of weird looking.
Isn't that just odd?
Which that's kind of cool too. I like that.
That's cool. I do like that. But yeah, that other cover is weird looking.
Vampirella, Elvira.
Yeah. I'm trying to flip through to the next thing that really caught my attention. How much AI is on that Matina cover of Space Ghost? I would say somewhere in the realm of 97%. It's really unfortunate.
Looks like we got a lot of Conan, Blade Runner.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the next publisher that's really got something that I think jumped out at me as a cool new thing, something interesting. It's really disappointing that it's taking me this long to find it. Here we go. Flip to page 174. Page 174. No, on the left. There you go.
The official Godzilla cookbook.
How brilliant is that?
I was laughing about this at the shop earlier, and my question was, I wonder what burned up Tokyo buildings taste like.
Right? And like a great big heaping helping of Mothra. Some Mothra stew. I don't know, man. That's funny to me. The official cookbook of Godzilla. That's just funny. I think the next page has Hyde Street on it. I think it's got a bigger thing later. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong.
Well, we've also got this Devour one shot. It happened on Hyde Street.
Yes. But Hyde Street, I gotta say, the covers that you're seeing there for Hyde Street, that's not showing off Yvonne Rice's capabilities to their fullest extent. Those images are so small. He has been publishing stuff on Facebook leading into Hyde Street. Holy smokes, does it look good! What a phenomenal looking book. I'm really, really excited for Hyde Street to come out.
Now, that's a pretty slick looking Destro cover right there.
Oh, you better believe it. Speaking of which, you know how we were wondering who some of the characters were on that G.I. Joe #1 cover?
Yep.
The one guy on the guy on the cover of G.I. Joe who's wearing the suit, no idea who that dude is. He's wearing the suit and he's got the shotgun kind of over his shoulder like this. If I read correctly, some dude named Risk.
Okay.
No idea who that guy is, but now I really want to know.
I do like that we're getting some new characters.
I do too. Larry Hama excels at making new characters, and I always like to see him pop up every now and again. Yeah, Geiger's looking great. Page 182.
No, I'm already up on 187. I'm over here showing Scarlet.
Scarlet. Have you read number 3 yet?
Maybe it's in my bag. Is that the one that came out this week?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it yet if it came out this week.
Well, let's just say that is a whole bunch of nonstop action right there. Speaking of Rooks, on page 194, we don't normally get a lot of interest for books from Ablaze. They just don't really publish a lot that catches our attention. But that one right there, boy, that looks really interesting. That looks like some Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
It really does. It's definitely got that vibe.
It's kind of like some Edgar Allan Poe mixed with some Cthulhu, some Lovecraft. That looks really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And if you flip the pages, you see some of the interior art.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That bottom, that's exactly the panel I was wanting you to look at. Tell me you don't want to read that book.
Yeah, I definitely need to check this out now.
And look at the next page, the top left. Yeah, look at that in the middle panel of that. That's a must read right there.
That's if anything, check out the art.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Did we sign Nick up for Zombie Makeout Club?
That sounds just right up his alley, gotta say.
Now, this is kind of cool right here. I mean, I already own all the comic books. I don't want this, but for somebody who missed out on it, this He Who Fights with Monsters.
The box set there?
Yeah, that box set. That was a good book.
That was pretty good, I have to say. If you like a good one-shot in the Sabrina universe, on page 220, there is a 9 Lives of Salem the Cat, written by Cullen Bunn. Probably going to be pretty good. That Cullen Bunn guy, he kind of knows what he's doing. He might have a future in this business.
That's a cool looking cover. It's a throwback to like the 70s and 80s style horror.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. I said it again. Good Lord, what's wrong with me? There's a book on page, let's see, 229. Arcbound, number 1. It's interesting. It's written by Tom Hardy with the help of Scott Snyder.
As in the actor Tom Hardy?
That's very one, yeah.
Huh.
But with the help of Scott Snyder.
It does. Okay.
It looks interesting. I'm going to check that one out. I'm going to give that one a look. There's also FML number 1 from Kelly Sue DeConnick and David Lopez. And I have no idea, on page 233 in the middle, there's Welcome to Maynard or Welcome to the Maynard. I don't even know what's going on with that. It's like a Monopoly Man. What if you owned a hotel full of magical stuff? I don't know. Yeah. For some reason, that's definitely way outside my normal kind of book, the kind of thing I would find interesting. But that one kind of caught my attention, and I don't know why.
There we go. Crimes and Suspense in the Eerie Archives.
Yeah, crime suspense stories. I will say on the top of page 237, you've got that Exorcism at 1600 pen, which is the ash can that you have in your bag.
Yep.
So we'll see if that turns out interesting. Hope that it does. And look at the bottom, The Hunger and the Dusk.
Book 2, no.
The Hunger and the Dusk continues to be awesome.
Yeah, that has been really, really good.
I have. That's one of those books that kind of came out of nowhere, and I did not have high expectations for at all, and I was absolutely wrong about that book. I have loved it, and now it's a must read. Like, you don't put it at the bottom of the pile when you get your comics; you put it at the top, right?
Yep.
You got to read that one right away.
Or, I'll be honest with you, there's been times with that book when it's come out that I'm going through my pile of books and I'm like, okay, I already know this, and this is going to disappoint me, but I need to go to bed on a high note, so I'm going to save Hunger in the Dust because I know it's not going to disappoint me.
No, you're right about that. It's not. Just a phenomenal book. It makes me happy on multiple levels, and I can't ask for much more than that out of a comic book. It's great. I highly recommend it. I recommend it, yeah. Just gonna keep on going. It's sad when you have to keep flipping this far to get to the good stuff. Our buddy that we had on last week, Mark Spears, with his new Monsters book coming out.
Yep.
There's some books on 296 you might be interested in. Anyway, he certainly the highest ordered comic that Keenspot has ever put out for number one. The highest ordered comic.
Good.
And they're looking into it. It might be, maybe, we don't know yet. We're still looking into it. It might be the most the highest ordered comic ever written, drawn, and colored by one individual.
Nice.
It might be. We're still checking into that, but that would be great. What a great distinction to have, right? We're gonna
if you haven't ordered it, I mean, make sure whether you're local or you're not local, go to your local comic book store and tell them you want it.
Yep.
Josh and I have both read it. You will not be disappointed.
No, you will not.
We kind of got to be a test audience for that. And that was really cool actually seeing it, but the story is so good.
It really is. It's great. I love it. And we're going to be doing a launch party for it at the store. We're trying to schedule a date now. We're still looking at it. But what would you, if you were going to pick between either a Wednesday afternoon of, hey, this book comes out today, or a Friday afternoon evening for a launch party, which would you go for?
I would probably go. You're kind of iffy either way. And the reason why I say that is Wednesday afternoon, especially when school's in, we got, parents getting kids everywhere, folks got stuff going on. Friday, you're kind of iffy on the whole. I mean, I'm going to be there no matter which day it is. I mean, if it could be pulled off on a Saturday, I think that would be better.
Do you? I thought a Friday would be better than a Saturday, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think it's. What do y'all think? I mean, y'all tell us what y'all think.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we've lost everybody as we're starting to just scan through the previews trying to find cool things to show folks.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Which I get. It's not the most fun viewing.
Previews has not been good.
It's few and far between. Now, we haven't looked at the Marvel or DC previews yet. I will say if you skip to page 380, there's a new Mad Cave book that looks like it might be of interest. And it's being written by Mark London.
Oh, I think I saw the something about that on. No, not this one. Are you talking about this Hour of the Wolf?
I am.
No, I have not seen this one. Sign
When
me up.
Owen Blackwood is called across time to a seemingly normal home to destroy a haunted painting, it follows on Wolvenheart. If you remember Wolvenheart,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a follow-on, like a spiritual successor to Wolvenheart.
Yes, sign me up for that one. Just right off the bat.
I think I already did.
You had me at Mark London.
I thought I might. But then there's two more on page 384 and 385. There's two more books that are new Mad Cave titles. The Hexiles, Cursed by Birth, United by Fate. And then you have Murder Kingdom #1, You Must Be This Tall to Die. So instead of Magic Kingdom, it's Murder Kingdom.
Interesting.
In a strange land called Florida. Cast starts murdering cast members of the Storybook Kingdom theme park. It's a book murdering people in Disney World. I gotta read it. It's written by Fred Van Lent. Fred Van Lent is good. He knows what he's doing. I don't know. I gotta read it. And Cullen Bunn is writing this Hexiles book. That's two Mad Cave books you got to read right there. And then they've got this on the next page, that Clay-Footed Giants. That's a graphic novel. They're expanding into some interesting stuff.
Yeah, but look at this right here. Sanction issue 5 of 5.
Yeah.
A painful truth is finally revealed. Dozens of horrible murders stand on the verge of being solved as the detectives are forced to face off in battle to determine both of their futures. That's been a really good book. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the issue #5.
Yeah.
Mad Cave and AWA are my two favorite quote unquote independent comic book companies.
AWA hasn't put anything out in a little bit. I mean, they're kind of finishing up some stories, right? Like Red Light and stuff like that, but they don't have ongoing titles, so they kind of have to be constantly putting out new titles, and they haven't put anything out for a little bit.
Yeah, unless they're gearing up for something, which that's always a possibility.
Yeah.
And then if you jump to 406, we got Epitaphs of the Abyss, issue #4.
I was looking at 398, the Monte Cristo, like the Count of Monte Cristo, but in a modern setting.
That cover is creepy.
Instead of like the Prison of Monte Cristo, it's like a black site federal prison.
Huh.
It looks awesome because the Count of Monte Cristo is one of my favorite stories. I love that story.
Magnetic Press. What else have they done?
Who?
Magnetic.
They've done a few things, but they've never done anything that's really taken off. Speaking of which, on page 400, look at the bottom. It's that Creature from the Black Lagoon comic that just came out.
Yep. That's a beautiful cover.
Look at that Sienkiewicz cover.
Absolutely beautiful.
That's phenomenal. And then the top right, the Alex Ross cover, the sketch variant, signed editions and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The Skin Police book on page 404. That cover looks very much like a cover to a Jeff Darrow book from the 80s, kind of hard, heavy metal style that was called Hard Boiled.
Yep.
That cover looks very, very similar. The front of the book, um, you saw like the guy facing off against the monster, and the back of the book was this kind of shot where he had just shot through the guy's head. Same kind of idea. So interesting. But yeah, 406, the Epitaphs of the Abyss, number 4.
And then Cruel Universe number 3.
Oh,
Both of those have got both just gorgeous covers.
they really do. I mean, the astronaut with the arrows through his skull, and then you see the tiny, tiny little people there next to his skull. So, like, are they Lilliputians? It, what's going on there? Oh, so interesting. Dude, look at that Sectars number 1. Did you see that?
What page is that on?
Page 408.
No, that looks pretty cool.
Children in the 80s who liked bugs and bug-related toys rise up.
Is Oni Press basically using the EC stuff to kind of jumpstart what they have coming out?
Yes and no. I think it's concurrent with them acquiring the license to pretty much all the 80s toys that nobody else was already publishing. So they got Biker Mice from Mars, they got Sectars, they got all those kind of lower level toys that never did as well as G.I. Joe or Transformers or whatever. They've picked up the licenses for all of those. That Autumn Kingdom number 2 looks great. We ordered number 1. I think I've got you on the list for number 1. That looks really, really good. There's so many good comics coming out now. Yeah, we're definitely getting to the back of the book, which doesn't mean quite what it used to mean when Diamond had all the publishers, right? Now they push like Image is buried back here in the back of the book because they're kind of mad at Image. But sorry, guys.
That Crow looked good.
The Crow looks very. Well, I forget what page is that.
442.
Okay, so you're past me a little bit. I thought if you didn't look at the cover for Phantasmagoria Complete Set Collector Pack on 435, that's a cover that I think would speak to you. But yes, The Crow does look very good. And if you notice who's writing it, it's written by James O'Barr. So it's not like some other person that's picked it up and is writing it. That's a James O'Barr book.
Yep.
That's the original writer. He's back.
Dead time.
I might have put you on the list for that one too. I don't remember.
I'm still trying to figure out why we're getting an American Psycho and a Basic Instinct comic book, or why we got them.
Oh, you preach, brother. I have no idea. That was a total mystery to me.
I mean, hey, both of those movies were good, but it's time to move on.
Yeah. Look on page 452, 453. Godfather of Hell. I don't know. Something about me tells me you would probably enjoy that book.
I mean, we're past the 9 o'clock hour. He just looks like the ultimate smartass.
Oh, very much so. And then Dead Samurai is on page 456. Listen to for anybody who is still like hanging on with us here, God bless you. But listen to the description, the write-up for Dead Samurai number 1. 18th century feudal Japan, a leprosy-based disease has turned most of the population into cannibalistic zombie-like creatures. A samurai named Shinzu must escort the only surviving member of his master's clan to safety in a world besieged by bandits, rogue Ronin samurai, and the ever-present zombie hordes. So if you want zombies set in feudal Japan, well, here you go. frankly, I could do with some zombies set in feudal Japan. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I think it could be fun.
Uh, I'm all for that. I still want to see the Predator movie set in feudal Japan, like Predator versus Ninjas or whatever. I want to see that. Yeah, and now we're just back to manga, I think. So yeah, we're at the end of the indies. So maybe next week we can take a look at Marvel and DC, see what they got coming. Um, I will say, for all that it took us a long time to scroll through all that stuff, and again, for those who stuck with us, you have the heart of lion. Uh, there's a lot of good books coming out that are solicited for this month. Quite a few I'm really excited to read. That Dead Samurai, not least among them. I think that's going to be a good read. It's from a small independent press, but it looks really good. It's got a Bill Sienkiewicz cover, so the interior art's not going to match that cover because nothing could match a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. But a Bill Sienkiewicz cover also doesn't like tell you that the interior is going to look like that either, right? Look at that profile view. Oh, who is this? But he's thinking. He's thinking.
Nick, that's what a mustache is supposed to look like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's harsh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pick on a man's facial hair. Terrible. Just terrible. But anywho, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, talking with us. I'll go ahead and tell y'all now. We haven't created the event yet or anything, but we talked a little bit about the new book coming out from Massive Comics called The Disavowed, which is written by Josh Blaylock, the guy who picked up the G.I. Joe license in the early 2000s after Marvel had lost it in 1995 when they ended the series. And he carried on G.I. Joe in a fine tradition. He did a great job with it until he lost the license, really. But he did a great job. So really appreciated what he did with the characters, the fact that he brought them back and gave us G.I. Joe stories. He's coming back with a new book called The Disavowed, which is essentially a cross between G.I. Joe and The Boys. Not with superheroes, but just that level of kind of hyper violence and kind of sense of humor, I think. But the storyline is the G.I. Joe of this world is called it was called the United Five. And I don't know if that means 5 countries. So you've got a kind of a worldwide cast of characters. I don't know what United Five means yet. But they face off against a terrorist organization called Komodo, which I enjoy. But the tagline for the comic is weaponized nostalgia. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to the book. And Josh Blaylock, the creator of this book, is going to be coming on Shop Talk on August 22nd. So 2 weeks from today, we'll have Josh Blaylock on to talk, and really looking forward to that. That's going to be a good time. So we'll be making the event soon and all that kind of thing, but really looking forward to bringing him on, bringing him back to the show. He was on years ago, bringing him back to the show to talk and hear what he has to say about his new book. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys be sure to tune in for that. Give him a good Haven welcome, all that jazz. We appreciate it. Anything you want to say before we let folks go for the night?
Read more comics. Go see Deadpool so we can laugh about it some more.
Yeah.
Um,
Let Marvel know that you will not stand for replacing pages of your comics with a QR code.
Exactly. And I literally, you know what, just to give you all an idea, I put this on my Twitter earlier. Which I think I'm shadow banned on Twitter. I'll just be honest with you.
You think so?
Yeah, because I kind of screwed my account up. And it looks like a bot is always posting like
Yeah,
advertisements.
Yeah.
And I have not been able to fix it. And well, maybe it finally fixed. I kind of did a couple of things that everybody said was doing. But I mean, I could put like there for a while, I could put stuff out there and it would be like, which isn't many, but it's a lot for us. It would be like 100 views. And then all of a sudden I was only getting like 2 or 3 views for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I was blocked from like certain profiles, like I couldn't follow. And I'm thinking, okay, why am I blocked from following this group or this? I've never interacted with them, and I don't get political or religious on YouTube. So you can't, I'm sorry, on Twitter. So you really can't say anything to me about that. And then I started realizing I was reading about it, and it said that this is characteristics of a shadow ban, and these are the reasons for shadow bans. And it fell under this whole advertisement thing. Because like if I don't tweet on there a lot, and if you look at it, it looks like the only thing I do is promote Shop Talk.
Got it.
So I look like just an automated thing. But I literally put on Twitter a little while ago. Where'd it go? Okay, why did it not pop up?
Because you've been shadow banned from your own page.
Yeah, really. But well, I literally put it on there that Marvel's Twitter handle for Marvel Comics is at Marvel HQ.
Yep.
And I literally put on there that I would not be buying any Marvel comic books that had the QR code for the last page. So y'all can do the same thing. It's real easy.
Yeah, let them know. If you agree with that, let them know. Don't let them get away with this and think that people are accepting it and that it's okay. It's not. It's absolutely not okay. It's not life or death. It's a comic book, but it's not okay within the context of comic books. Just if we don't let them know, they're going to take that as tacit acceptance and they're going to keep doing it. So let's let them know. That said, read more comics. Come back here, join us to talk comics with us. We want to hear what you guys have to say. We're happy to talk about them, but we love to hear what you think too. So chime in, let us know what's going on with what you're reading. Turn us on to some new books we're not reading. We're always open to that. If you're new to the show, just like Gail Simone said, welcome to Haven, recruits. I'm going to get that framed and blown up at the store, man. Welcome to Haven, recruits, Gail Simone.
We are going to use and abuse that, Gail Simone. Thank you very much.
Direct quote. Thank you, Gail, for providing that. Anyway, you guys all have a great night, and we're going to catch y'all next week. Hopefully see you up at the shop between now and then. And if you're not local to Huntsville, hit up your local comic shop. Go in there, buy something, keep their doors open. It makes a world of difference to have a local comic shop versus not having one. You might not know how much you're going to miss it till it's gone. So support your local comic shops. Talk to you guys later. Y'all have a great night.